Low reality check, guys. Here's what I want to know.
Wait, can I pick door number 2?
Yes.
You know, criminal mischief?
Yeah, who makes that choice? If they choose between being a criminal or college football player, is it,
What a choice, huh?
I'd like that life of crime. Let's start now. Yeah.
Jason, let me start with you. Look, am I making too big a deal about this? I mean, 31 arrests, 5 or 6 years, that's about 5 a year. Is this a big deal or is it not a big deal?
Look, some perspective is needed, obviously. You know, not all these arrests are for the same exact kind of thing. A lot of them are for behaviors which are pretty commonplace on college campuses. I mean, I admit, sometimes I do laugh when I see reports of college football players drinking on weekends or smoking marijuana. Can you imagine drinking and smoking marijuana on a college campus? But you do have a situation, obviously, where these coaches have to deal with this, these crimes and these arrests, and it is sort of an awkward situation I think they find themselves in because they have to deal with a legal process. Right. But at the same time, they have gone into the living rooms of these players, spoken to these players' parents, and said, "I will take care of your son. I will be a father figure. I will be a surrogate parent." And in the moment of a crisis like this, it's strange if they have to wipe their hands of it.
BJ, let me ask you this for just to jump in there is, look, as a player, you know, Steve Spurrier said this when I talked to him. He said, you know, these days, the police, it used to be in the old days, they'd let you go, they'd get you back to the dorm and all that. Yeah. Now the cops are looking for it. They can't let this kind of stuff go. Does that ring true to you?
Well, that does ring true, and Coach Spurrier is correct. Back in the day, they knew who you were, and you didn't have all the different media platforms. Everyone didn't have an agenda like they do now with their camera phones. I saw so-and-so there. Well, hell, you were there too. So he's right in that aspect. There's so many repercussions or ramifications for, say, if a young man gets in trouble these days and you let him slide by as a peace officer or as an administrator or a coach or whatever, and that people get wind of that, the general public gets wind of that, the blowback for that, that's what you got to account for these days, where in the past, you're right, that, you know, the officers on campus would usually drive you back to the dorm, or even just the city officer, a regular police officer or policewoman would know who you were, and they would give you as an athlete, that's one of the perks you get. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm just saying that's the way it was.
It cuts both ways, that's for sure. Because as you said, I mean, you know, yes, they are held to a higher standard, but at the same time, ordinary students are not finding their personal lives written about on blogs. They're not photographed out, you know, having a good time on the weekends. I mean, there are standards that are different.
Well, to me, that's the biggest difference, and that's why I said what I did in the opening monologue. Yeah, is it fair to the players?
No,
probably not.
It's not.
It's probably not fair to players, but the fact of the matter is this stuff is written about. It creates an image for the university, and people have a lot invested in their image, and so that's why I think this is significant. Let me ask you guys this. It's one thing, okay, bar fights, smoking pot, all the stuff that college kids do is one thing, but in this situation of Chris Rainey, guys, okay, Chris Rainey made a text, okay, and said, you know, it was a threat, time to die. It was a threatening thing. And to me, Jason, I'll start with you. To me, that rises to another level, and that's why I'm wondering if the coach should be involved, because he's got so much at stake.
Yeah, I mean, just broadly speaking, anytime you're talking about an allegation which infringes upon or endangers the lives of other students, I mean, that's a much more serious thing than goofing off on the weekends and getting in trouble for that.
Well, I agree with that. I understand, as you just mentioned, that they're going to lessen the charge. That's fine, but I think they need to drill a little deeper and ask the victim, you know, are you fine with this? And from all reports, apparently she is okay with a lesser charge. Right. She said she doesn't want to proceed with the felony charge. And in the case, of course, and in her life, she didn't feel like was ever in danger, but that shouldn't matter. The onus should be on the district attorney, on the folks there, the judge, the court of law there in Gainesville, whether or not they're going to pursue this